I'm here with the wonderful Megan Gifford from Crossfit East Tamaki. I've had a girl crush on her for a few months now, so I've invited her down to my woman cave to have a chat about her awesome experience at the CrossFit Games and her upcoming achievements that she's about to smash out in the next year. So, hi. Thanks for doing it. I just wanted to chat to you about what you've got coming up in the next year for your training.
Some crazy times.
We're proud of you.
So what have I got coming up? I am currently on a weightlifting focus, so Olympic weightlifting, and I have 5 more out of 6 sanctioned events which I'll be lifting at, all international, to collect points in line with the selection process for the Olympic Games. So all going well, that will be the outcome. However, I've got 5 big events to get through one by one, so just focusing on one thing at a time.
And so far, what has been your greatest achievement?
My greatest achievement? It's a really, really tough question to ask.
I know, right?
Yeah, I mean, that means something so different to so many different people.
Yep.
For me, I think I spent 3 years competing in a team. That's kick-started my competitive career in any sport, which was CrossFit. So for the 3 years that I was competing in a team, 2 of those years we made it to the CrossFit Games. So that's not an individual achievement. However, I had to overcome a lot of things to be a part of that. So we had an awesome team, and so as a team, that was a pretty incredible achievement to make. But along the way, we individually had to grow as athletes a lot. So we had
what
to.
way can you?
Well, one, we had to all become team athletes, so we had to learn how to work with each other 7 days a week, at least 2 hours a day. Like we lived out of each other's pockets. So just being able to kind of embrace everyone's strengths and weaknesses and personalities and accept that. And I think we nailed it, to be honest, because we're all still very, very good friends. We had no issues there. But then individually we had to overcome things like, for me it was swimming. I learned how to swim in 2015, the year that we made it to the Games, knowing that there was going to be an ocean event.
Yeah. That's what's cool about CrossFit, right? It's just constantly varied.
Yeah, 100%. So I was not only a bad swimmer, I was terrified of the water. So we didn't get to do any ocean swimming here in New Zealand because it was the middle of winter. However, when we got to the States, it was literally a case of every single day we'd swim out to one part of the pier and back, and I'd have my teammates literally surrounding me and just calming me down. And that was a huge, huge thing for me. So I did that in 2015. Again in 2016, the swim was a little bit tougher. It was individual. I had to make it from A to B just with one person, not my whole team. So a lot of those things happened along the way for us to get there. And those, like that whole space of 2 years to me was my biggest achievement, because it kick-started everything. Being stronger mentally, being stronger physically, being able to work with all types of people. There's so many good things from that.
Awesome. So I wanted to connect with you because I had a personal experience with a patient who said that she did CrossFit 7 days a week, or exercised 7 days a week, because she hated her body. And I have admired you from afar because you've recently been really open on Instagram and social media about your personal body image issues. So I deal with a lot of female athletes and who have a lot of body image issues, and I just wanted to connect with you and maybe give these wonderful women out there a couple of tips on why they're looking to exercise a lot, and a few tips on things that they can do personally to help themselves get through those mental and body image issues. So if you could expand on how you got yourself through that.
Well, it was a long process. Initially, like I came out and said on social media, I remember the first time literally the day I decided to start exercising. It wasn't actually that long ago in the big scheme of things. It was probably 2010, 20 years old. But I was very big on drinking, and I was a smoker at the time. I loved partying, which is all, great times, but at that time I decided that I really hated what I looked at in the mirror each day, and I'm talking like physically, like I didn't fit anything, I felt crappy, I was constantly like low on energy, and I was so angry at myself for letting myself get to that point, and I thought, screw it, I'm just going to go for a run, and I'm going, but when I look back, I was very much in a state of like self-loathing. So I even remember going for that run, and just the language I was talking to myself, I was just telling myself that you're so unfit, you know, how did you get here, you can't even run 10 meters.
I called her an inner bitch.
She was
really
not
evil.
very nice.
Yeah.
And I remember that so vividly, and I remember it was raining and it was hailing, and like I was just all this kind of there's this dark cloud over that time in my life. But the more I exercised, like I kind of just did it for no real reason other than turning up the gym was fine at the time. It was when I started training in the style of CrossFit, which I didn't know what it was at the time, and I started getting enjoyment out of the things that I was doing and the things that I was finding that my body was capable of that I never thought it was capable of. And then that's when the language started shifting to something positive, where I stopped focusing on body image and I started focusing on what I was physically capable of, which was bizarre. And then from there, that just kind of spiraled in a good way. And then, much like most things, you come to obstacles and stops along the way. Things happen in life that you know, force you to take a step back and then get back on the track and keep moving forward, and that happened quite a lot. So it was just over the course of, I would say, maybe 4 to 5 years, there was a constant battle of this girl who was trying to punish herself and this girl who was really excited about what she was capable of, kind of going back and forth to get to a point where I felt like I could share that whole journey. Yeah.
And what would you tell her now? What would be the one thing that you would tell your younger self?
Probably just to relax. Just to relax and take things day by day, because you wake up each morning, you get an opportunity to either do something cool or hate yourself. You know, like, and that's where I was at. I was at a point where I'd wake up and I'd drag myself through the day, talking negatively to myself, or I'd wake up and I'd go to the gym and try something new, and then, you know, lead on that path. So I just think take every opportunity, every single day you wake up, do something positive, or tell yourself something positive, or just start the day well. And then do that every single day of the week, and you've got
create
that
habit.
Flow.
Create the habit around being positive with yourself,
100%.
because it's hard sometimes, and that inner person, that is the inner negative nanny that lives inside of us. We've got to keep her in her little box, because she'll always pop up occasionally. So as females, we just need to be constantly reaffirming, you know, what our bodies can do versus negative internal dialogue.
We do. Yes.
I wanted to ask you about food and nutrition and recovery, the things that you do as an athlete to improve your performance. And one of the things I really wanted to discuss was the many and varied opinions on how to eat well. Now we're told lots of things like eat paleo, eat vegan, low carb, high carb, low sugar, and there's all sorts of information out there for females. And I mean, I've got a couple of science degrees, and sometimes I find it really hard to kind of go through all the information in science. So what are some really simple tips for the people that are watching to help improve their performance and how they're feeling, and what have you done to really help?
So I've refined my nutrition a lot over the last year, and it's really blown my mind in how easy it is to make simple habit changes in the right direction that will give you huge benefits. So what I mean is, for example, I've kept it really simple for myself. I've just, same sort of processes like we're saying, day by day. This is meal by meal, just keep it really balanced. So every day I make sure my meals have good sources of protein, good sources of carb, good sources of vegetables. And that's as simple as it gets for me. And then I go into a little bit more detail from there. But I guess for those who were not, those athletes who just had no idea where to start, the first thing I would suggest is just getting some help from someone who has some knowledge. There are so many different ways that people tell you to eat, but the one thing you need to remember is that you just have to improve on what your current situation is.
Yeah.
So if you are currently waking up, having Coke for breakfast, pies for lunch, and pizza for dinner, and someone says you need to go on keto,
Probably not a good
probably not a great idea. Probably not a great idea. Keep it real simple. The best thing you can do is start taking the processed food out of your diet. And initially, that's going to have huge benefits on weight loss, performance, recovery. Your body will just slowly start functioning better and doing what it needs to do.
One of the things that I say to patients, and one of the things I notice with all these diets and ways to eat, is what they all have in common is fibre and vegetable intake. So if there's one thing that I encourage as point number one is water, and second point is just up the vegetable content. And those are two really, I think, really easy places to start. And that's kind of what kind of advice I give.
Yeah, 100%. And I just think, like, set yourself one small goal, like you were just saying, up the amount of veggies that you have and the water intake that you have in the day. If you can do that for 3 weeks every single day and you've nailed that habit, then look to the next thing.
And I think that's a really good point to kind of elaborate on, which is habits, like exercise, nutrition. It should really become a habit, like brushing your teeth or combing your hair. And that's what I think, recovery and chiropractic and massage and all these amazing therapies should be for patients, is just part of that kind of recovery and performance. And nutrition is a huge part of that. So if we can just make little changes in regards to those habits, everything's going to snowball.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
And what people don't realise when they're starting off is if you start to take out the processed food that has maybe X amount of sugar in it, and you start increasing your veggies, just that alone will spiral into, I don't feel like sugar anymore. My body's starting to crave things that it needs. It's starting to function properly. And then you don't need a special diet to carry on with that path. You just need to start being a bit more aware of how your body feels. When you're eating these good foods, and then from there you'll probably be able to say to someone like, what do I need to do next? Oh, you don't actually eat any carbs in your diet, so let's add a little bit of rice to every meal, or something so simple that's going to get you along the way.
Good answer. I love that answer. The final thing I wanted to talk about was, as a sports chiro, I deal with a lot of weightlifting and strength sports athletes, and we have in powerlifting and strongman the Arnold's coming up, and so I wanted you to maybe give some tips to the athletes going over there this week on how to manage their mental side of performance coming up to the massive comp this week. So
I think I would, from personal experience, when I can look at competitions where I've done really well at and I've enjoyed them, and competitions where something's felt off, I just think sometimes, I was explaining this to you earlier, there's just too much noise, and if you can be aware of when there is all of that noise and it's taking away from you focusing on the one job that's in front of you at that time, then it's a matter of putting in some kind of process to calm that noise. Because with lifting, it's really interesting. Like, there's nothing you can do. There's not a lot you can do leading up to the point where you're right in front of the bar or you're underneath the bar, whatever the lift is. There's not a lot you can do except for the few seconds before switching on. And if there's all of this noise, you're not able to switch on in that second. So I just think a process to calm, and process is a big one actually. So it's something that you can start practicing every day this week, is just what am I physically going to do as I walk up to the bar? What am I mentally telling myself as I walk up to the bar? And start creating this process that when you go up there, you're focused, you're ready to go. And
visualize what's about to happen.
Exactly, and just keeping that, we keep talking about it, keeping that chatter super positive, and being aware of when it's not positive so that you can put another process into place to switch that around. So that's what I have to go through, is just being really aware of what's going on internally, what your internal dialogue is, and then you are 100% in charge of controlling where that goes. So putting in your practice to be in front of the bar, nothing else matters except for what you're about to do.
Because you've put in all the hard work over your training block, and in that moment, the week before, you're not really going to get much stronger. And,
No.
You're deloading, you're recovering, staying on point with all those type of nutrition and recovery
Absolutely.
things, but it's all about that mental side of performance. So
Yeah.
that's where the gems really happen in that final week. So if you can stay on top of that intention and that the reason why you do what you do, and that relaxation, so that fine line of visualizing what you want to achieve but staying relaxed around your goals.
Yeah.
And my mum always said, like, just do your best.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's so simple.
She's like, just do
my
your
mum says
best.
the same.
You know, like, just do your best, and what more? And like,
Yeah.
in life, really, who are we doing it for? It's our husbands or our partners
Yeah.
or our parents.
Yeah.
And if we make them happy, then nothing else really matters.
No,
So
it's so true.
Right?
It's so true. And the thing that I often tell myself is that if I can walk away, it doesn't actually matter what number I hit on any given day. In certain situations when it counts, obviously, it does matter. But generally, as long as I can walk away and tell myself I put all of the practice into play on that day, I was kind to myself, I enjoyed the experience, and whatever outcome that is awesome. If it's slightly different and I walk in there and I know that I have, maybe been not very nice to myself leading into it, and that's affected how I felt when I was standing in front of the bar, or that's affected my attitude towards it. That's where I can go, okay, next time I have to nail this.
And next time you'll be better.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
it's
exactly
just
right.
about getting better.
Yeah.
That's what I think in life too. So that's all the questions I had for you today. I really want to thank you for coming down to my warm cave
problem. It's amazing.
hanging out, and
Thank you.
thanks to everybody for watching, and I hope you guys got a lot out of it.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.